Hello guys, TKC here, TheKaijudoChannel with another deck profile. I used this deck this past week at, not Kaijudo League because Kaijudo League's over, but we went to another store, as you may have seen, was really loud and filled with players. And well, I didn't really get the other duels on tape because it was so packed and I couldn't find a way to film. I decided to bring a fun deck and a deck that I know would do pretty well. And this was the fun deck, and it did okay. I think it went 5-4 overall in games, so I mean, it went back and forth, but it's kind of inconsistent, I think. But it was a fun deck anyway to try. And this deck is a Rush deck because we're using this card right here, Blaze Belcher, 3 of those. But this deck is basically a mixture of two ideas that I've already seen on the internet. We have Gorby with his Fire Water Ag Rush deck. That was my main inspiration. I was like, okay, if we could get a Rush deck working like that, but also have some sort of aggro elements to it, I decided that I should come up with a deck that's similar to that, but incorporating another civilization, which would be light. So I also have 3 Magris. So then I also noticed that Reef Prince, if you don't know him, it's Thunder Sultan's friend and another Kaijudo player, and he used the deck in the second week of his Kaijudo League, or whatever it was, and he was using Rusalka Rushdown, which was the name of his deck, and it was pretty much a fire, light, water rush deck. And while this deck is very similar to his, I'm using concepts of Gorby's Ag Rush deck in that it's not fully inclined to be a rush deck. It's a rush deck that could go into late game and still play out. So that's pretty much the main inspirations of the deck. So credits to them for sure. But yeah, here's the deck. So of course we got the 3 Blaze Belchers and the 3 Magris the Magnetizer to have some early rush with the level 1 creatures. When you draw these, you're really happy because you could go in for shields very easily. Now for level 2, instead of the 3 refis, because I'm playing light, we could play Sun-Stalk Seed. And so these can attack and they combo really well with the tap cards. And just like the purpose in Gorby's deck, it's just a nice backup to have when you're kind of falling behind in the late game. You're like, well, I gotta protect myself now, so you got these guys to help out there. And for the other level 2s, I'm using 3 Drakon Weaponsmith because they're very nice Drakons that get up to 3,000, and they get increased even more with Blastforge Slaver, which you'll see later. So that's it for level 2 creatures. I wish I was able to play more, but there's not really any other relevant ones besides like the Vanillas and Kanina the Igniter. That's another option, but I didn't really see a use of those cards, so I decided to opt out of those and make more of an aggro-based rush, I guess, kind of like Gorby's. So for spells in level 2, of course, you got to run the 3 Comet Missile and the 3 Ice Blades to get rid of the annoying blockers and stuff that are in your way. Now for level 3, in Reef Prince's deck, he decided to play Blind Reveals instead of Shock and Awe, and I personally think Shock and Awe is the way better option. It just combos so well into many of your cards, like especially the turn 4 Gilaflame. That's so brutal. You play this, and then you play Gilaflame, and you're tapping something, and then either killing it with Gilaflame or just going over it and going for a shield. This card is just amazing. It's probably the MVP of the deck. You want to have Shock and Awe turn 3, and then you could do so many different plays with it. So I'd rather have a 2,000 power tap many times than a Blinder Beetle that can only do it once and it's only 1,000, you know. So yeah, Shock and Awe definitely MVP of this deck. You also got 3 Seneschals, which are great for draw and stuff. I'm only using 2 Blastforge Slaver because I mean I don't have enough Drakons to really support, you know, running 3. So this is mainly, like, if I don't have Shock and Awe, at least Blastforge Slaver is a good backup because it could protect Drakon Weaponsmith from getting beaten down by, you know, Sun-Stalk Seeds or whatever. It would have to trade. And it also makes your Gilaflame even better. It makes your Gilaflame turn 4 a 7,000 instead of a 5,000. So it gets over those pesky little, you know, blockers like Frogzuka and Keeper of Clouds. So that's what they're mainly in here for. I couldn't really find room for a third, but I think I would have liked to have a third one just to have, you know, you could do double Slaver if you really wanted to. But its main purpose here is just to protect Drakon Weaponsmith and make your Gilaflames more beefy, pretty much. Next, we got 3 logo scans. I never really thought this would actually work in Rush, but considering this is a lot like Gorby's deck and it's more of like an ag rush, meaning like you need to catch up sometimes and you don't want to just insta-lose when you don't get your best plays. You got Logo Scan to search for cards, and same thing like Aqua Seneschal, it's good to search for those cards that you really need. So for that, definitely using 3 Gilaflame so you could easily abuse the Shotgun combo and work well with Blastforge Slaver as well. There's no reason not to play 3, especially in a rush deck like this. I'm not playing Draglide the Swiftest because the 2000 power is not really relevant. It's also not a Drakon, and it doesn't really do much. I'd rather play Shotgun, you know, same power, and it just provides so much more of an impact than Draglide ever will. And I'm only using 2 Rusalkas because, you know, the 1000 power is not too great, but it's nice to get rid of anything on the field, and the only other option beside this to get rid of anything on the field that was relatively cheap would be Veil Vortex, and, you know, that card is not a creature, so it's nice to have a creature form card that can get rid of, like, anything you really want to, and so only having 2 is great because I don't want to be flooded with Rusalkas that I don't need. Yeah, so that's it for creatures, and then the last, there's 6 Shield Blasts right here. We got the 3 Stormspark Blast and 3 Tornado Flame that we hope we get in shields, but if we draw them, you know what, it's just going into mana pretty much. But that's not to say that you can't hardcast these cards. You definitely can. Hardcasting Tornado Flame is a lot more common than Stormspark Blast, for example, because you can't really, I don't know, usually if you get to turn 6, or if you get, not turn 6, but if you get 6 in your mana, you probably won't have that many creatures on your field to make use of a hard-casted Stormspark. So most of the time, if you're drawing this, it's going in your mana, but you're hoping it's in your shields, just like Tornado Flame. So yeah, that's pretty much all for the deck. This was just a fun deck to try out, and this deck definitely did work whenever I got the cards I needed. Like usually when you get Shotgun Gilaflame combo, you are looking pretty good. Just these 2 cards are just such an awesome combo. Or, you know, the Blastforge Slaver is also really great as well. So what really makes this deck is all the awesome level 3s that lead up into your awesome level 4 play. But it doesn't always happen, you know. Sometimes you end up having a Shotgun Seneschal, you know. It just, sometimes you don't draw the perfect hand, you know, but that's kind of expected. But at least this deck is 40 cards. It is 15 spells, though, which I think is a little bit more than I'd like to in a rush deck. Maybe, you know, 26 is a really nice number, but preferably more creatures the better. But as of now, we don't really have that many impact rush creatures yet, I don't think. You know, the rest are just like vanillas or cards that you just are very situational. So for that reason, having more spells is not that bad of an idea. Yeah, guys, this is TKC signing off with my take on the light, fire, water, ag rush archetype, I guess you can say. And hope you like the deck. Give me suggestions if you like. I don't know if I'll be playing this deck anymore, but it was definitely something fun to try out. So, hope you enjoyed it, guys. TKC signing off. See you later, guys.